Did is it was an opportunity to learn. So Gary's team and our team, we'd go into the classroom and whatever, because the teacher is great, but they're not in manufacturing, so they rely on us. Just like we're not maybe not the greatest in the education field, we had to learn on them, rely on them. As we would go in and we would teach. So one of the things we taught was what we call our war board, our management board. And so we taught them how to organize their day, how to organize the work, how to understand where everybody was in the project. And I had teachers that came up later and said, can I have one of these in my room? Because I think that'd make it a lot easier for me to keep up with our students and where they are in the progress. So, you know, it was not only did the students learn, but it's been an information share both ways on lots of different things. So it's been very positive. So I love going into Commodore Manufacturing and seeing this junior or senior in high school running their war board just like our experienced team leaders do on the floor at Jasper. It's very impressive.
And that employer has to be, going back to being engaged. If you look at what we do on our side of Wapaka as well, is we're sending those subject matter experts in. We're not just sending an intern out to teach them. We're sending managers, we're sending vice presidents, and we're saying, you're taking half of the day and you're going to go teach this class. You know, we're teaching classes on how to be successful, how to make right choices. That takes those key people out of your business. And so it's not always easy, but it's the right thing to do. And that's what it goes back to. Yep, definitely.
We took the higher manufacturing curriculum and we sent it out to these guys because Wapaka has a different expertise than what Jasper does. And then they signed up, well, we can teach this, we can teach that. Because the student and the teacher, bless their hearts, they you know, they don't know how to run a CNC machine. They're just reading the same thing that's in that higher curriculum. So we sent our CNC team in, and so, you know, whatever the module was that they were learning, they would go through it, but then we would come in behind them and present to them. And then the last one is Icon. My friend Luke here, he went in, and I always called it Big Boy Job 101. I think he calls it the Recipe for Life. But
the internships too, they also got a great internship. And what they've done on their internships, which is unique, they have rearranged the seniors' schedules where they come to an employer 1 day a week. So we get them all day Wednesday from 8:30 till 3. So that is very nice as far as the internship goes, because our guys like it because it gives them more hands-on time, being a mechanic, being an electrician, the IT, health services, all those things. So that's something else that they do that's very unique.
And they have to do some unique scheduling. They do a lot of block classes, so those kids have to have a commitment. They still are responsible for that calculus class that they're missing. So it takes all of the faculty at Perry Central to come together and say, we know that this is what our internship program looks like, it's what our employers want, it's what our kids need. So it definitely takes everybody across the board working towards those internships. Central was such a great partner because they had a lot of this stuff already in place when we got there. And then the industrial maintenance, mechanical, so you can see on the 9th grade and the 10th, and then the summer they job shadow, the internship. I actually had the HR person for Commodore Manufacturing as my intern. She was my Wednesday's child this year. She wrote a emergency procedure manual. She did all our evacuation routes. She worked through their application process. She's actually going to school now to work through HR. So before that, she had not thought of that as a career. So again, it was I was fun. I got somebody that liked the file and I don't, so that was pretty cool. But there was a lot of other things that came through that, and we built that relationship and we worked through. So now next year I'll get another. She graduated, so I will have a junior that's going to come spend some time with me the next school year on Wednesday, and we'll look at some other facet of the HR that Commodore Manufacturing doesn't have, and we'll teach her to build that. These are just some of the pathways. You know, as you're in education, you're familiar with Indiana's new pathways. Perry Central has been doing pathways for some time. So the one that we're all interested in and we work with them, our community is manufacturing. That is where our job base is. So they did the higher technology, the classroom. We do manufacturing night, which is pretty cool because all the students and teams, about 4, go out to about 25 different industries, not only in our county, but also Du Bois, Spencer, and some of our neighboring counties and across the river. And they learn about that particular business. And then they come in and display, and parents come in, and one of the high schools' culinary arts class fixes the food for it. So it's a big celebration about manufacturing within our own community. one of the things that Luke one time said was used to people, a different generation thought that manufacturing was hard, dirty, grunt work. And now it's work smarter, not harder. And so by bringing the parents in and seeing what was going on, they understand that this is a career for their students. So getting that parent involved is very important to the success of computer manufacturing.
One of the biggest challenges is for us to get parents to understand that if your kid doesn't go to college, that doesn't mean your kid is unintelligent. And that's a very hard struggle that we continue to try and work through. And having these programs and seeing the engagement, seeing that they're showing up and representing a company in a nice shirt and it's buttoned up and they've done the skills and they are presenting and they're talking intelligently has gone, just so great with all the parents. I think that's been one of the big pieces of this that is nice, getting those kids in to see it for themselves instead of just thinking this is going to be a dirty job. This is going to be a hard job. So that's been very nice.
And we'll average about 300 people that night will go through that. They play like a bingo game, ask questions on all the industry, and we got nice door prizes that have been donated by the industries. So it's a big deal. It's actually something to look forward to.
Is that like once how frequently does that happen?
That's once a year.
Once
They do it in the fall of the year. So as employers, we just know we're going to have a team of kids. Those are going to come and hang out with us for a couple days. So. And then I like part of it that's important is it teaches the communication, so the students own it. So I'm getting emails from the student asking me these questions. Hey, will you look at my PowerPoint? Do you have more pictures for me? So it's also building those relationships and opening up those communication channels for the students at an early age. So.
And it's usually in October around National Manufacturing Day, something like that, which we do a separate event in Perry County on that as well.
So the kids come back to the school and share their information?
We do it at Ivy Tech. We have a local Ivy Tech camp. It's in the evening hours, and it's a pretty big production.
Yeah, 6 to 8, and they do it like job fair. They'll set up the booth. We'll ask them what they want. We got the curtains and ands. We got a lot of fancy stuff for job fairs, but we ask them what they want. They learn to that. Like Luke was saying, they know the company that they're going to present to, and then they present, and they're representing us. So we don't help. We take a step back and we watch from afar. So all is in their court.
And it's just fun to watch how proud the child is when a parent comes up or when somebody that they're presenting to the community. We have our local elected officials are there, so we invite everybody. So it's definitely an open house for the community.
So we'll average about 300 people that night will go through that. They play like a bingo game, ask questions on all the industry, and we got nice door prizes that have been donated by the industries. So it's a big deal. It's actually something to look forward to.
To add to that really quick, because I'm sure many of you have noticed, that's been one of the biggest challenges is for us to get parents to understand that if your kid doesn't go to college, that doesn't mean your kid is unintelligent. And that's a very hard struggle that we continue to try and work through. And having these programs and seeing the engagement, seeing that they're showing up and representing a company in a nice shirt and it's buttoned up and they've done the skills and they are presenting and they're talking intelligently has gone, just so great with all the parents. I think that's been one of the big pieces of this that is nice, getting those kids in to see it for themselves instead of just thinking this is going to be a dirty job. This is going to be a hard job. So that's been very nice.